Amid the blue seas and the green jungles of Central America, where morning mist still clings to towering treetops, rise colossal stone steps that defy time. They are not mountains nor natural mounds of earth, but the pyramids of the Maya. Monumental works built by bare hands, without iron, without wheels, yet soaring high and proud against nature itself. When the sun rises, its light cuts across the steep stairways, casting shadows into mysterious forms. Here, rituals were held, blood was spilled, and prayers were lifted to the gods. The Maya built an entire worldview, where humans were but a small link in the eternal cycle of existence. The Maya worldview, where sky, earth, and the human heart meet. The Maya believed the universe was layered, above many heavens, below many underworlds. Between them lay the earth, the realm of humanity, seen as the axis of all creation. At the center of this cosmic order stood the ceiba tree, the sacred world tree of Central America. Its roots reached deep into the underworld. Its trunk stood firm upon the earth, and its branches stretched high into the heavens. For the Maya, the human heart was the pathway where gods and mortals met. Blood, the very essence of life, became the holiest offering. Ritual sacrifice, often shocking to modern eyes, was a reflection of this worldview. When blood was spilled upon the temple steps, it was not merely death, but an exchange. Mortals giving to the gods returning with rain, sunshine, and harvest. Without blood, the sun would not rise, crops would not sprout,
the sun
and the world
god
would fall into
grants
chaos.
us knowledge.
The gods of the Maya. The Maya pantheon was vast and symbolic. At its head was Itzamna, the creator god, bringer of writing and knowledge to humanity. Chak, the rain god, with his long nose and sharp fangs, was often invoked in ceremonies calling for storms. Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, embodied wind, storms, and rebirth. From the sacred book Popol Vuh came the tale of the hero twins, Hunahpu and Ixbalanque, who descended into the underworld to challenge the gods of death. These myths were not distant legends.
Not yield.
They permeated daily life, art, architecture,
for our
and even
gods,
politics.
For our people.
Cities of stone amid the jungle picture a day in Tikal, one of the greatest Maya cities. From afar, temple towers pierce above the jungle canopy. Within, vast plazas stretch wide, ringed by stone palaces, noble houses, ball courts, and auxiliary buildings. Farmers arrive from distant villages, bringing maize and goods. Merchants carry salt, cacao, and exotic feathers. Priests calculate time by watching the sun and stars from observatories. On the pyramid summit, solemn rituals unfold, while in the plaza below, the crowds chant prayers to the rising sun. Tikal was not alone. Palenque dazzled with intricate architecture and reliefs narrating dynastic myths. Copan was hailed as the Athens of the Maya for its exquisite sculptures, each statue telling stories of gods and kings. Later came Chichén Itzá, blending Maya and Toltec traditions. Its famed pyramid, El Castillo, the temple of Kukulkan, still astonishes. On the equinox, afternoon sunlight creates the illusion of a serpent slithering down the stairs. Kukulkan himself descending to earth. This was not mere architecture, it was astronomy, art, and faith united in stone. Masters of time, Maya astronomy. Perhaps the greatest Maya mystery lies in their obsession with time. Unlike civilizations that saw time as a straight line, the Maya saw it as a circle. Endless cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. They created 3 calendars. Hab, a solar year of 365 days, close to our modern calendar. Tzolk'in, a ritual cycle of 260 days tied to agriculture and religion. The Long Count, a system measuring vast spans of thousands of years. By combining the Hab and Tzolk'in, they form the 52-year calendar round, considered a full cycle of the world. It was the long count that fueled modern fears of the 2012 apocalypse. Yet for the Maya, this was never an end of the world, only the closing of one cycle and the birth of another. Like a clock returning to zero, The cosmos, in their view, was endlessly reborn. Their astronomical precision was astonishing. They tracked the orbit of Venus more accurately than the Greek astronomer Ptolemy. The Dresden
depends on
Codex
what you're willing to
contains
pay.
Venus tables accurate to within hours of modern calculations. The observatory of Tikal at Chichén Itzá had windows and alignments so exact it could track solstices, eclipses, and planetary movements. Daily life. The Maya world was not only rituals and temples, but also the rhythm of everyday life. Farmers cultivated maize, the sacred staple, along with beans, squash, chili, and cacao. Children grew up in extended families, taught writing, mathematics, and traditions passed down for generations. Women wove cloth, prepared food, and traded in local markets, while men hunted, farmed, or sometimes went to war. Maya society was sharply, but as a circle. Endless cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. They created 3 calendars. Hab, a solar year of 365 days, close to our modern calendar. Tzolk'in, a ritual cycle of 260 days tied to agriculture and religion. The Long Count, a system measuring vast spans of thousands of years. By combining the Hab and Tzolk'in, they formed the 52-year calendar round, considered a full cycle of the world. It was the long count that fueled modern fears of the 2012 apocalypse. Yet for the Maya, this was never an end of the world, only the closing of one cycle and the birth of another. Like a clock returning to zero, the cosmos, in their view, was endlessly reborn. Their astronomical precision was astonishing. They tracked the orbit of Venus more accurately than the Greek astronomer Ptolemy. The Dresden Codex contains Venus tables accurate to within hours of modern calculations. The observatory of Tikal at Chichén Itzá had windows and alignments so exact it could track solstices, eclipses, and planetary movements. Daily life. The Maya world was not only rituals and temples, but also the rhythm of everyday life. Farmers cultivated maize, the sacred staple, along with beans, squash, chili, and cacao. Children grew up in extended families, taught writing, mathematics, and traditions passed down for generations. Women wove cloth, prepared food, and traded in local markets, while men hunted, farmed, or sometimes went to war. Maya society was sharply stratified. The Ajah, or king, was seen as the mediator between gods and humans.
We must act,
Nobles
my
and priests
king.
held knowledge, conducted ceremonies, and controlled astronomy and politics. Merchants traveled widely, linking city-states. Artisans crafted pottery, sculptures, and jewelry of jade and obsidian. Farmers, the backbone of society, sustained the entire economy. Cacao, which we now enjoy as chocolate, was considered the drink of the gods. Served hot, sometimes spiced with chili, it was reserved for nobles and rituals. Salt, jade, shells, and rare feathers functioned as currency
May
and
the
symbols of
ancestors
wealth,
protect you, little
literature,
one.
and art. The Maya left behind a vast treasury of writing, though most was burned by Spanish conquerors. In the few surviving codices, bark paper pages are filled with hieroglyphs, symbols that were simultaneously sounds, words, and sacred images. They recorded dates, dynasties, myths, and ceremonies. A remarkable innovation. The Maya discovered 0 centuries before Europe did. Their shell-shaped glyph for 0 allowed a positional number system, empowering their calendars and astronomical calculations. Their art was equally profound. Stone stelae, reliefs, and murals depict kings and queens performing bloodletting rituals. Queens piercing their tongues with obsidian spines, soaking cloth in blood, and burning it so the smoke could carry prayers to the gods. To modern eyes, it may seem gruesome, but to the Maya, it was philosophy.
We pray for sustenance.
Power was not only to rule, but to sacrifice, to maintain the bond between gods and mortals. When we think of the Maya, most of us picture pyramids, human sacrifices, and their mysterious calendar. Yet hidden inside the civilization are many things few would expect. One of them is the ball game Paktapak, not merely a sport, but also a religious ritual.
Spirit.
The ball, made of hardened rubber, was heavy and had to be driven through a stone hoop set high on a wall. Players could not use their hands, but had to strike it with their hips, knees, or shoulders. For many teams, both victory and defeat could lead to death. In some places, it was the winners who were sacrificed, for they were considered worthy offerings to the gods. This shows that for the Maya, glory and death could be one and the same. Another secret, the Maya were masters of ecology. They lived in a harsh land without great rivers like Egypt or Mesopotamia. Instead of depending on rivers, they built vast reservoirs and canals to capture and store rainwater for entire cities. At Tikal, archaeologists discovered reservoirs large enough to supply tens of thousands of people. Remarkably, the Maya also knew how to purify water using quartz sand and charcoal, a technology we are only now beginning to appreciate. They also created terraced fields and floating gardens, maximizing the use of forest land. Swamps were transformed into raised fields that could be cultivated year-round. This is why the Maya could feed millions of people despite their unforgiving environment. The mystery of writing and lost knowledge. Maya writing once covered entire cities, carved into stelae, temple walls, and codices. Yet when the Spanish arrived, nearly all of the codices were burned in huge bonfires. Only 4 survived: the Dresden, Madrid, Paris, and Grolier codices. Of these, the Dresden Codex is the most famous, containing detailed records of astronomy, mathematics, and rituals. This loss has been compared to the burning of the Library of Alexandria in the Americas. If all their codices had survived, our understanding of the Maya would be many times deeper. The decipherment of Maya writing has been a long and dramatic journey. For centuries, Western scholars believed the glyphs were mere decorations, not a true language. It was only in the 20th century, thanks to linguists like Yuri Knorozov, that the system began to be understood. Today, about 90% of Maya glyphs can be read, opening a window into their history, mythology, poetry, and politics. Shadows of decline. Despite their brilliance, the Maya civilization could not escape collapse. Around the 8th to 9th centuries, many great cities were abandoned. The causes remain debated. Prolonged droughts, lake sediments reveal severe drought periods. Without rain, crops failed and famine struck. Endless warfare. As resources dwindled, city-states turned against each other. Stone monuments show scenes of battles, captives, and sacrifices after victories.
It is a fair price for such fine craftsmanship.
With millions of people, the land was overexploited and could not recover. Religious crisis. When crops failed despite blood sacrifices, people may have lost faith in their kings and priests, who were seen as mediators with the gods. Together, these forces led to the fall of major centers like Tikal, Copan, and Palenque. People abandoned the cities, leaving the jungle to reclaim temples and palaces. By the time the Spanish arrived, they found only scattered villages, not the grand metropolises of old. The Maya did not disappear, yet to say the Maya vanished is wrong. They are still here. Today, more than 6 million people speak Maya languages and preserve ancestral traditions.